A narrative of the life and reign of Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte, later known by his royal name Napoleon I, was a French military commander and emperor who rose to fame during the French Revolution and led successful campaigns during the Revolutionary Wars. He was the leader of the French Republic as first consul from 1799 to 1804, and then emperor of the French from 1804 to 1814 and again briefly in 1815. Napoleon's political and cultural legacy made him a renowned and controversial leader. He instituted a number of lasting reforms but was criticized for his authoritarian rule. Napoleon is considered one of the greatest military commanders in history, and his military exploits are still studied in military academies around the world. An estimated 3 to 6 million people died during the Napoleonic Wars that Napoleon waged. Emperor Napoleon in his study at the Tuileries. Napoleon was born into a family of Italian nobility. He resented the French monarchy and, while serving in the French army, supported the French Revolution of 1789 and attempted to spread the ideals of the revolution to his native Corsica. He saved the Directory by suppressing royalist rebellions, and his reputation grew rapidly. In 1796, Napoleon marched against the Austrians and their Italian allies, winning decisive victories and becoming a national hero. 2 years later, he led an expedition to Egypt, which was the springboard for his rise to political power. Following a coup in November 1799, he appointed himself first consul of the Republic. In 1804, Napoleon was crowned Emperor of France, seeking to consolidate and expand his power. Disputes with Britain led to France facing the War of the Third Coalition. By 1805, Napoleon broke this coalition with victories at the Battle of Ulm and the Battle of Sterlitz, which led to the dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire. In 1806, the Fourth Coalition was formed against him. Napoleon defeated Prussia at the Battle of Jena-Austerlitz, led the Grand Army into Eastern Europe, and defeated the Russians in June 1807, forcing the defeated nations of the Fourth Coalition to accept the Treaty of Tilsit. 2 years later, the Austrians challenged the French again in the War of the Fifth Coalition, but Napoleon consolidated his control of Europe after his victory at the Battle of Wagram. Napoleon hoped to extend the continental blockade. He invaded the Iberian Peninsula and installed his brother, Joseph, as King of Spain in 1808. The Spanish and Portuguese revolted in the Peninsular War with the help of the British Army, which resulted in the defeat of Napoleon's marshals. Napoleon then invaded Russia in the summer of 1812. This campaign saw the disastrous retreat of Napoleon's Grand Army. In 1813, Prussia and Austria joined Russian forces in the Sixth Coalition against France, resulting in the Grand Coalition army defeating Napoleon at the Battle of Leipzig. The coalition invaded France and captured Paris. Napoleon was forced to abdicate in April 1814. He was exiled to the island of Elba, between Corsica and Italy. In France, the Bourbons returned to power. Napoleon escaped from Elba in February 1815 and took control of France. The Allies responded by forming the Seventh Coalition, and Napoleon was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo in June 1815. The British exiled him to the remote island of St. Helena in the Atlantic Ocean. Napoleon died there in 1821, aged 51. Napoleon played a significant role in European history. He led the French army against most European powers in the first decade of the 19th century, and after a series of victories, established France as one of the dominant powers on the European continent. During this period, France's sphere of influence expanded through numerous alliances with other countries and the appointment of friends and family members of Napoleon to lead other countries conquered by France. His tactics led to many victories for the French army against armies that were, in some cases, even numerically superior to the French army. Napoleon had a profound influence on the modern world, implementing liberal reforms in the lands he conquered. He implemented many liberal policies in France and Western Europe. Napoleon also sold the Louisiana Purchase to the United States in 1803, which doubled the size of the United States. He is remembered today for his collection of civil law laws, which he enacted in 1804 and became known as the Napoleonic Code. While he called for modernity, he also evoked the glory of the Roman Empire. That inspiration from Roman civilization was also reflected in the industries of this era, the massive furniture that became known as empire, the paintings of Jacques-Louis David that tell of bravery,